Explain the new league to our audience.
Sure. Thanks for having me on, Dan, and I apologize if I sound a little nasally, a little under the weather this morning, but when Todd Fritz calls, you got to rally. You got to play hurt sometimes, Dan.
Every day's the Super Bowl around here, Don.
There you go. There you go. So Pacific Pro Football, PAC-Pro for short, will be a 14 professional football league initially based in Southern California, with play to begin in July 2018. Player rosters projected at 50 players each, with an average salary and benefits package of $50,000 per player. And the player population we're looking at are players that are 4 years or less removed from their high school graduation date. And the coaching staffs that we project, they will have former NFL and college coaches, and it will be a development ground for officials and coaches and executives as well. And there's really two primary objectives, Dan. Well, I would say three. The first one would be that we want to develop these players in the professional style of football, which is very different than the amateur style. Anybody that's watched the two can tell that there's an immediate difference there, and the gulf between the two is growing wider. The second thing we want to do is make the game safer, Dan. And, these players, as they're developing, we feel that there are modifications to the game that can be made that will make the game safer for the players. And PAC-Pro will always have the health, safety, and welfare of the players at the forefront. The final thing we want to do is really try to help these players try to explore what their life passions are outside of football so that they can at least make some steps toward establishing a path for their life when football is over.
But as a fan, where would I be able to watch these games? How important
Great question. We've already had some preliminary discussions with potential content distributors. And the interesting thing in our research, Dan, going through this as we're studying this, we live now in a technology world where there are more content distribution options than ever. You've even got the major broadcast networks, scrambling to try to figure out what the new landscape is going to look like. And so there are more of those options, and the next generation behind us is more open-minded as to how they consume their entertainment. Mm-hmm. But when you look at that, the other side of the coin, in terms of if you want live football game programming, actually there's not much inventory out there because the major properties already are locked up under long-term contracts. So we feel that we can provide more inventory, create more jobs, and service some of the growing number of content distributors.
Are you going to be recruiting high school kids? Are they going to be in high school when you're recruiting them?
That's a great question. The player pools, as we see it, there potentially could be kids directly from high school. There may be players who are playing at a very high level in community college and currently being recruited by major Division I schools. There may be current players on Division I rosters who are not playing for one reason or another. And there also may be players who have played very well as freshmen or sophomores in college and who might be interested in playing in PAC-Pro for 1 year and starting their professional development a year early, as well as marketing themselves and making a salary. And then the final player pool that we looked at is there's a lot of interest in actually from international players. Mm-hmm. The American game's becoming more and more popular in places like Germany and Australia. And in fact, the NFL just drafted their first player from Germany this past season directly from Germany. So those would be the player pools.
Could you see this actually pushing the NCAA towards maybe paying players, like minimum wage?
I don't really know, Dan. I mean, I've read a lot of commentary over the last 24 hours about that, but I really don't have any idea what their thinking might be. I'm just kind of focused on trying to build a new model. And when we looked at the football landscape, we felt that football's been a sport that actually hasn't seen much innovation lately, and we've seen innovation in all other areas of American society. I think the NBA just recently announced 4 or 6 weeks ago that they're going to be opening basketball academies all around the world. And so we just felt that it was the right time for innovation in football, and we hope to expand the industry.
How would you make money off of this?
Well, all leagues tend to look at traditional revenue models, Dan, such as gate, concession, media rights, licensing, merchandising. And so we've looked at all those traditional streams as well as possibly some more innovative streams.
The Dan Patrick Show, weekday mornings on Audience.